I'm sorry to say it, but Unai Emery is not the third best manager in the Premier League. I think he's got a very good shout for it. I think anyone in the comment section of this video who's going to argue with me very angrily in defense of Unai Emery has a point. I will give you that now. In fact, I'm going to make a really good case for Unai Emery can be considered the third best manager in the Premier League, but for me, he's not. I'm going to give you as well who I believe is. So stay tuned to the end of that video for my final answer. But it's only right we give Unai Emery the praise he deserves. And in fact, I actually did this on a video on my channel where I talked about why Aston Villa are so unique. They play a formation of 4-4-2 that no one else is playing, with kind of very hard-working wide players that come inside, really dynamic forwards, a really robust central midfield pair, and they can sort of mix things up tactically. There's so much to love about Aston Villa and Unai Emery. If you want to see that video, if you're a Villa fan who's watching this thinking, why is he about to slag off my manager? I'm not, but you want to hear some praise for your team and Unai Emery? Check out that video. Now, what I am going to do though is try and understand where this arguments come across and come out that Unai Emery is the third best. And it starts with the Jamie Carragher quote. I'm not going to sit here and say, what is he talking about? Complete nonsense. He makes a good point. We want to explore it. On Sky Sports, Jamie Carragher said, I think you can make an argument that Unai Emery is possibly the third best manager in this Premier League. You've probably got Klopp and Guardiola, who are Champions League winners, but when you actually look at the body of work, Emery, not just at Aston Villa, continually winning Europa Leagues, even Mikel Arteta and Mauricio Pochettino haven't got that CV in terms of winning trophies. And look, he's not wrong. He's actually not wrong. Let's explore it. Unai Emery, trophies won at 3 different clubs, Villarreal, PSG and Sevilla. He has won trophies. He has 4 Europa Leagues, 2 French Cups, 2 League Cups, 2 French League Cups, 2 French Super Cups, and he's won the Ligue 1 title. That is a really, really good list of trophies there. He has managed Valencia from 2008 to 2012, Spartak Moscow from 2012-13, but he left to then join Sevilla for the rest of the 12-13 season. He was there till 2016. He then joined PSG 16-18. He was at Arsenal for the 18-19 season and left in the middle of the 19-20 season before Mikel Arteta came in, and then he was at Villarreal about 2 and a bit years before joining Aston Villa about a year ago. He has had a really, really impressive CV there, Unai Emery. And actually, I'm going to put forward now the other names that I think are in contention for this race for the third best manager in the league. I mean, Pep and Klopp are just in a different universe, different stratosphere. They are what they've done with their clubs, the points tallies, how long they've done it for, by the way. This is now 6-7 years we've been talking about these two. They're phenomenal. They're the 2 best managers in the world for me. So you put them aside, you got Unai Emery, who's definitely in the argument. And who joins him? Well, I put Pochettino in there, I put Mikel Arteta in there. I'm going to chuck in Zerbi, Postecoglou, Ten Hag and Eddie Howe. Bear with me. Let's start by going through the clubs they've managed, and will you find a more impressive CV than Emery's in terms of clubs managed? Emery, I've mentioned the clubs, Valencia in there, Sevilla, Villarreal, PSG, Arsenal, Villa. Then you go to Pochettino, Espanyol, Southampton, Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea. It's probably the second best CV in terms of just putting forward the clubs you've managed. Zerbi, you've got a lot of Italian clubs in there, Sassuolo, Shakhtar Donetsk and Brighton. Postecoglou did a lot of his great work in Australia before going to the J-League, Celtic and Tottenham. Ten Hag had Utrecht, Ajax, Man United. Eddie Howe, Bournemouth, Burnley, Bournemouth again and then Newcastle. Mikel Arteta, just Arsenal. Now, if you look at trophies won by all these managers, again, Unai Emery, not only does he come out better in terms of just the CV of clubs he's managed, the trophies, look, he blows them away, let's be completely honest. You've got Emery's 4 Europa Leagues, I've mentioned them all, you can see the list there. Pochettino does have a Ligue 1 title, a French Cup, and a French Super Cup. I think you'd have expected him to have won a little bit more in his 2 years at PSG, or year and a half at PSG. Zerbi does have a Ukraine Super Cup and a Serie C Cup, which I'd never heard of until I did my research on this. Postecoglou with 11 trophies has won the Scottish Premier League twice, 2 Scottish Cups, League Cups, a Scottish Cup, 4 times A-League winner, J-League winner, Asian Cup as well. Ten Hag with 3 Eredivisie titles, 2 Dutch Cups, a Dutch Super Cup and a Carabao Cup, gives him 7, so not a bad resume there at all. Eddie Howe has won the Championship and Arteta has won the FA Cup. So all these other managers I'm putting forward have won trophies in some way, shape or form. They have lifted silverware. So what I'm trying to show you here is that Jamie Carragher let's just go back to his exact quote and what he said. He goes, when you look back at the body of work, not just at Aston Villa, he basically says no one else can really compete in that. And I agree with him. No one can. He's got the better list of trophies. 4 Europa Leagues is massive. That is really impressive from Unai Emery. Valencia, Villarreal, Sevilla, Arsenal, PSG. Like some massive, Aston Villa, some massive clubs that he has managed there. And generally he's overperformed in most, if not all of them. But here's the thing. I've got 3 reasons why Emery isn't the third best. Why it goes, I think Pep just number 1, Klopp like a percentage behind. If you wanted to put Klopp, I'd understand. And then it goes someone else, to be revealed in just a sec. But why is it not Emery? Firstly, I can't ignore that he's fallen short at the big clubs he's been at. Now, I know some people might say, fallen short, that's pretty harsh. I mean, look at the amount of trophies he won at PSG. At Arsenal were a mess. Even Arteta finished 8th in his first full season, and even in the half season he had before that. And he's doing well. Now, can you really blame Unai Emery? I think he had the tools to do more. If I look at Arsenal, for example, I look at a manager who, got to Europa League final and tanked in it. Someone who threw away the Champions League with some really poor results at home, was dreadful on the road as well. And though he got us clicking, it ended really badly. And his second season, that first third of the season he was in charge of, was really, really bad. And we've got to call it what it was. At PSG, 4-0 up against Barcelona in the Champions League and in a great position to go and get to the next round. They end up losing 6-1 in the return leg. Knocked out by Real Madrid as well, which you can kind of understand. I think they went on to win it that year, Real Madrid. The idea was to get PSG, with everything he'd done in the Europa League, to be more competitive in Europe, and you didn't really see that. And then he didn't win Ligue 1 in his first season. So that is a step. Okay, that Monaco side was very good, but that is a stain on his record. It's true of Pochettino as well, by the way. Pochettino also missed out to Lille, but it wasn't his first full season. He had a full season, Emery, and he fell short of the title. So that is one big thing. I think at big clubs, he has fallen short. The second thing, and it kind of ties into that first bit, is with all due respect, I think he's got a little bit of an underdog mentality. I think he suits teams that are happy and willing to understand that they're going to play different formations for different teams. They're going to adapt to the opposition. They're going to respect the opposition perhaps a lot more than the bigger clubs would want to or need to. And this is one thing I've got against Unai Emery, that with this underdog mentality, I kind of feel like he doesn't have one. He has his philosophies, he has his principles. Hard work, massive part of his principles, there's no doubt about that. He does deploy a pressing game. He does have a style of football that focuses on getting the best out of his number 9. Look at the goals Aubameyang scored under him. Look at what Watkins is doing. The other Moreno at Villarreal. Like, he has done that before. He does have philosophies to his game. But there seems to be this kind of, I have philosophies, but I will always adapt. And I think the very, very, very best managers have philosophies that they're almost too stubborn to ever move beyond, because they believe in them so much, because it's a winning philosophy and a winning formula that gets you to win at the very, very highest level. And I think the very best managers, if you're talking about the third best, they've got to be managers not just that do really well with what they've got. Sam Allardyce not long ago was saying, well, I'm as good as Pep and Klopp, because when it comes to building teams that work hard and being, really relegation ready and being ready for that fight, no one does it better than me. Sure, but isn't the game about glory and winning and lifting trophies? Allardyce isn't a manager that can achieve that. And in a far less dramatic way, I don't know if Emery has proven, though he can win loads of trophies, there's no doubt about that, can he get very, very good groups of players and challenge for the very, very top honours on a consistent basis? Because, while I'm not trying to underplay the Europa League, it's not the top caliber competition in Europe, though he has done amazingly to win it. I'm trying to explain what I'm saying without discrediting him too much. The third point I just want to make on this is, City and Liverpool wouldn't hire him. I mean, do you disagree with that statement? I don't think City and Liverpool would hire Unai Emery. And what does that tell you? Let me go into my points for 3 other managers I want to put forward. Now, the first one is Zerbi. Here's what Guardiola had to say on Zerbi. We have seen each other 2 or 3 times, mainly talking about football, said Guardiola. I'm really happy he is here. I saw the last 2 games and he is already playing the way he wants to play. His impact will be massive in the future. I congratulated him by phone when he was appointed. We haven't spoken since. He plays a different way to Italy, the clubs and national team. His Sassuolo was an example. No matter the quality or investment, if you believe in something 100%, the way your team plays, you can do it. Now, for what it's worth, let me just put him out the running already. I don't think De Zerbi is the 3rd best manager in the league, but look how Pep Guardiola says that his Sassuolo were an example. No matter the quality or investment, if you believe in something 100%, the way your team plays, you can do it. He is so praising Pep of De Zerbi's sticking to his principles, playing a certain way, and no matter what investment you got in your team, no matter what the resource is, he believes that, let me just adjust my chair, he believes that you stick to that. And that is something I believe De Zerbi's got on Emery. Now look, Emery's a better manager than De Zerbi. I'm not arguing that he's not. But I think that is a key component that gets you the respect from the very best clubs and the very best managers. Let's look at Pochettino, who is another I'm putting forward. And we talked about what he's achieved, the trophies he's won at PSG, the clubs he's managed. But just to list some of the things he's won, he didn't win. Spurs fans watching this, that was a slip of the tongue. I'm not trying to troll. He didn't win anything at Spurs. But look, Premier League runner-up twice, Champions League finalist, League Cup finalist, and 2-time FA Cup semi-finalist. I know he didn't get over the line, and I know that's a stain on his record, but that is really, really impressive from Mauricio Pochettino, taking a club that weren't competitive at all to being ultra competitive for the very, very major trophies. You've got to give him serious credit, especially when I show you this graphic from April 2020 from Sky Sports that shows you Tottenham's net spend since 2014 all the way up to 2020, and the work that Pochettino had to do with the group he had. A £50 million net spend. Stoke had a bigger net spend. West Brom, West Ham, Leicester, Chelsea, Palace, so many other clubs had a much higher net spend than Pochettino, and he was able to compete with the highest teams for the highest honours, on a fairly consistent basis. For 3 years, Tottenham were a team you took very seriously because of Pochettino. The 3rd manager I'm putting in this, because look, Ten Hag, Howe, if you want to argue for them, by all means do it in the comments. Postecoglou, look, I hear it, he's looked very good at Tottenham, but I think he's still got a lot to prove. So I'm putting Arteta forward. But I want to give you some numbers at Arsenal that make me put Arteta forward. Firstly, FA Cup winner in his debut season. Nice, very good. Led the youngest squad in the league to a title race. Last season, Arsenal were the youngest squad in the Premier League, and they went toe-to-toe with Man City till about the last 5-6 games. Very impressive. He had 50 points after 19 games last season. He got to a Centurion point pace, 100-point pace by the halfway season. I know to do a 100-point pace, you got to do it for the whole 38 games. I know that. But he set a potential there that is massive. His side scored 88 goals last season in the Premier League, more than the Invincibles did, and the most Arsenal have scored, I believe, in the Premier League era. And he finished 8th, then 5th, and then 2nd in his first full three full seasons. That is all very impressive from Mikel Arteta. So if you're watching this video thinking, here we go, he's about to announce that he thinks Mikel Arteta is the 3rd best manager in the Premier League, typical Arsenal fan. No, I nearly did say that. But what I'm describing there, what I've read out there, let's call it what it is, it's potential. There's a lot there that suggests Arteta can get there. He's very young, first job, only 3.5-4 years as a manager. But he is very, very young, and we need to remember that. But he has shown immense potential, and I think in a year's time, if I do this video again, I believe, because of what I believe Arsenal, my team, will achieve this season, I believe he will be looked at as the 3rd best manager in the league. But it's too soon to say that right now. My answer is Pochettino. Let me explain to you why. Pochettino and Emery did fairly similar at PSG. Though Emery won more trophies, sure, they both won one Ligue 1 title. They didn't really do anything special in Europe. And look, the other cups I kind of expected Emery to win. And yeah, maybe Poch should have done better. But I don't see a massive difference between the two. I think Poch's side played better football. What he did with Tottenham was unreal. We can't forget about that. It feels a long time ago because it was about 3 years ago that we were talking about Poch and Tottenham. But what he did was really, really special. Liverpool and City would hire him. Liverpool and City would absolutely hire Pochettino. I've got no doubt about it. the football he plays, his philosophy, he's got that stubbornness. He's competed in this league with this, with a Tottenham side against these other sides. They would absolutely hire him. And then my final thing is, he has shown the potential Mikel Arteta has. Everything I've said about Arteta is very impressive. Tottenham fans could reel off similar stats and talk about all the finals and everything he achieved with Tottenham, though narrowly missed out. Arteta's narrowly missed out, except for that one FA Cup on a lot of occasions. I mentioned that he's similar to Emery and what he's done with PSG, but he's also got that Zerbi stubbornness and philosophy that I talked about Guardiola really admiring and appreciating as well. So when I collate that all together, and I think Pochettino is going to do a good job at Chelsea as well. I know he didn't pull up trees at PSG, but he did fine. He did well enough, and I don't think that was an easy situation either. No one's really done that well. Tuchel, Emery, loads of managers haven't done great, in Paris with PSG. I still think Pochettino is the third best manager in the league. I think Arteta will top him. I think Unai Emery this season could continue to absolutely make an argument for why I'm wrong on this. And I think there's lots of other managers. Eddie Howe. I think Liverpool would hire an Eddie Howe. I think, I've mentioned Zerbi being brilliant. Ten Hag, everything's wrong at Man United. Could he go to another club and prove his brilliance again? I think there's a few. Postecoglou, who knows what he'll do? His football's fantastic. Some of the best in the league. But I think Poch edges it over everyone else at the moment. But I do think Emery and Arteta are knocking on that door. One's got the experience in the CV, but the other's shown immense potential. I'd love to know all your thoughts in the comment section below. I've tried to break down as statistically as possible why I think Pochettino is the third best manager in the league. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Arsenal fans, don't get upset. I still love Mikel Arteta. I think he's going to win this league this season. I think he will be the third best. Considered that for sure very, very soon. But you've got to be fair with what we've seen already. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I'll see you all very, very soon.